Denny Hamlin said that NASCAR threatened to make a penalty up for him at Iowa. It became the biggest story in the sport for 2 days. Now NASCAR has answered it, and the answer is genuinely good. Mike Forde went on the Holler Talk and walked through the whole thing, why the brake pads are different, why the rules exist, why they held their line, and what would have happened in the garage if they hadn't. They also gave Hamlin credit, which is not anything that people expected, although the 2311 lawsuit, Denny's kind of got their number at this point, so it is what it is. Now, he said that Hamlin told things fairly from his side and had fun with it, but buried in the middle of that answer is a sentence that does not help NASCAR nearly as much as it does sound like, because Forde explained what the penalty would have been. He said it would have been 3 laps or 5 laps or 20 laps, whatever it is. He said that they were discussing what it should be in Monday's debrief meeting. Now, the penalty that NASCAR threatened Hamlin with on Sunday morning still doesn't exist on Monday afternoon or Tuesday or now Wednesday. But of these men telling the truth, that's what makes things interesting. So let's break everything down. Now, you have to keep in mind that brake pads are not a single source part. In fact, NASCAR does not supply or mandate them. Teams buy whatever pad they choose. Drivers prefer a wide range depending on the track and driving style, and NASCAR considers a pad choice part of the car setup. So this is not NASCAR saying, hey, these are our brake pads, you have to run these. Now, Iowa was an impound race. What does that mean? Well, once inspection is done at an impound race, no setup changes can be made, which includes brake pads. Teams could change them once the race began. The second detail is the one that was missing from the whole story, in my opinion. Most of the coverage framed this as a brake pad specific rule, and it isn't entirely. It's an impound procedure doing the work. Under an impound, nothing in the setup changes after inspection, and NASCAR classifies pads as the setup because the teams choose them. So keep that in mind. It's not a, hey, NASCAR was pissed that Denny wanted to change his brake pads. It was, hey, it's an impound race. Like you can't do anything to the car setup. We don't care if it's a brake pad or what, right? So just keep that in mind. Now, Mike Forde came back by stating, by creating a new penalty, that's one way of looking at it if you want. The other was looking at it is we have discretionary penalties in our toolbox, and that's what we were referring to. So it comes down to mechanical. Now, he said, so when someone disobeys a NASCAR directive, and that's what the number 11 team would have done, if they would have left their holler and said, I don't care what you are saying, NASCAR, we are going to change these brake pads, and you have to deal with it however you want, but we're not listening, we're changing it out. Then we have to look and say, okay, this is disobeying a NASCAR directive, and that is the language in the rule book. What that means now is that it is now a discretionary penalty, and we can handle that however we wish, whether it is just dropping him to the rear. He continued by stating it would have been much harsher than that, of course. So it is a 3-lap penalty, a 5-lap penalty, a 20-lap penalty, whatever it is. We wouldn't be creating one, but we would be using our discretionary to put a penalty in place that we felt was appropriate for the actions that were taken, in this case by the 11 team. It didn't happen, thankfully. There was discussions, plenty of discussions today during the debrief session about what a penalty should be, and so and go on. So basically, all of that, and I appreciate Mike Forde coming out there and saying, hey, this is what's going on. This is what we felt like. And this is honestly great context. So a little bit of a backstory, because both men are technically right. Denny went on his Actions Detrimental podcast on Monday, and the brake pad situation, the brakes, was a big deal over the weekend, right? A bunch of Toyotas, they had brake issues. And Denny talked about on his podcast, hey, there was a tear in the brake pads, and we wanted to do more because we didn't feel fully safe about it. We didn't want any issues. So he went to NASCAR and said, look, we understand this is an impound race. We understand you're not supposed to make changes, but this is now a safety concern. This is not an advantage. And of course, you have to take things at face value, right? If you have a tear in your brake pad, you're at a disadvantage. If you get a brand new brake pad on there, you have no disadvantage, right? So it's like, But his point was like, look, we don't want anything happening. I don't want to hit the wall. I don't want something flying into the grandstands, yada, yada, yada. Let me, and to his credit, he wasn't just going in there going, by God, I want to change this brake pad. You must do this for me, kind sir. And no penalty should be given to us. He wasn't talking about that. He was talking about, look, start us on pit road when the green flag starts, and you can do the same thing next week. And NASCAR's like, no. And so he made it seem like they told him, look, if you do this, we're going to have to penalize you. We don't have a penalty right now, but we're going to come up with one. So they threatened to come up with a penalty for Hamlin, which in itself is absolutely insanity. However, I appreciate Mike Forde coming out and going, look, would we have made a rule up on the fly? Not necessarily. We have a toolbox. We have these sets, right? It could be a 3-lap, 5-lap, 20-lap, whatever it is, whatever number of laps we come up with, that's your penalty. We're not going to strip you of points. We're not going to fine you. We're not going to tell you that you can't start. It's an automatic DNF, whatever the case may be. You're just going to be 3, 5, 20 laps down, whatever the case may be. We have this kind of set in our toolbox. We just have to pick, is it 3 laps? Is it 5 laps? Is it 10 laps? Is it 15 laps? Is it 20 laps? Wherever it is, that's what we're going to do. It wasn't, by God, we're going to get back at Denny Hamlin. That SOB got us in court, right? It wasn't anything like that. And if you take that at face value, okay, I get it. Should there be, and I'm more than confident to say, should there be a thing in there, in the rule book, that goes, if someone wants to change something in an impound race, here's the penalty, regardless of what the change was. Yeah, it should probably be in there. And now NASCAR, whether it's, I would assume they're going to do it before the end of the season, but they may wait until during offseason to go in there and be like, all right, here's the penalty. Like, we're not doing this again. We're not doing this again. So I see that's how that's going to play out. I don't think NASCAR is the enemy. I don't think Denny's the enemy. I get Denny's point from a safety standpoint, a disadvantage standpoint. I get NASCAR being like, dude, it's an impound race. You know this. Like, what are we doing? I get both sides. I get both sides. And fortunately for NASCAR, fortunately for Denny, it wasn't completely overblown. It was a story. And we're NASCAR fans, so we like stories like this. So let me know in the comments here below, what do you think? Where do you land? And I will see you all in the next video.